Outcome 11.3 bar graphs. There are two main types of bar graphs, a vertical bar graph and a horizontal bar graph. On a vertical bar graph, the number of items is shown vertically on the graph, and all of our bars also run vertically or up and down. On a horizontal bar graph, the number of items will run horizontally, as will the bars of our bar graph. June works at a call center. One of her jobs is to ask the callers how they found out about the call center. She collects the following data in one day. And so we can see different sources of information: the internet, information on product packaging, television commercials, print advertisement, the doctor, and other, and the number of each callers that found out about the call center from that source. If you are creating a horizontal bar graph, remember that a horizontal bar graph, the bars will run like this. On which axis would you put the number of callers? So on a horizontal bar graph, the number of callers has to run horizontally. So this would be on the horizontal axis. On which axis would you put the sources? The sources would then be on our vertical axis. What would be a good title for the graph? Well, our title could be how people found out about the call center. Okay, let's actually go ahead and graph that information. So you can see that because we're doing a horizontal bar graph, I've divided the horizontal axis into numbers for the number of callers, and I put my different sources along the vertical axis. I should also have a title of my graph, so how callers found out. About the call center. Okay, from our table above, we can see that the first source is the internet, and we had 97 callers find out through the internet. So I'm going to draw my internet bar in between, or over top of, sorry, those two squares. And if I'm doing 97 callers, I'm going to need to come all the way across my graph to, there's 80, there's 90, and I don't want to go all the way to 100. And then come back, and the bars of a bar graph are always filled in or colored in. You'll notice that I left an empty row of squares at the bottom of my bar graph. I'm also going to leave an empty row of squares in between the bar for the internet and my next bar, which will be for product packaging. There were 134 people that found out from information on product packaging. So let's go ahead and graph that. There's 100, 120, 134. And again, color in that bar. Leave another blank space, and then we can do our bar for the TV. There were 17 people that found out through the TV commercial, so one square would be 10, so we want to go just over half of the next one and color in the bar for the TV. Print advertisement was 180, so this is going to be a much larger bar. It's going to come all the way across to just about the end, 2 squares short on my graph. And then color it in. You'll notice that as we're making our bar graph, each of the bars is the same height. I've made them each 2 squares high, but they'll vary in length, of course, because of the differing number of callers. Okay, the next one we have is the doctor, and there were 78 people that found out through their doctor. So that means I need to come over just under 8 squares and fill this one in. Our last source was other sources, and there was 12 other sources. So just over 1 square and fill in our bar. And there's a horizontal bar graph showing how callers found out about the call center. An archaeologist is studying the Inuit of Rankin Inlet. 5 different items have been found in the dig. There were 4 hunting hooks, 7 ulas, 14 harpoon tips, 3 goggles, and 25 kalamktons. This time, because we are doing a vertical bar graph, my number of artifacts has to go vertically, and my different types of artifacts are going to run along the horizontal axis. We can start filling in our information. So hooks, there were 4 hooks found. In my graph, each square represents 2 hooks, so I'm going to go 2 squares high to get 4. Ulas, there were 7, so 2, 4, 6, and half a square gives me 7. Remember, again, we need to leave some empty space in between the bars on our bar graph. Harpoons were 14, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, so 7 squares high for the harpoons. Goggles, there was only 3 goggles found, so a square and a half high for the goggles. And the last artifact was the most common, and we need to go up to 25. And so all the way up, there's 20, 22, 24, 25. And coloring in that last bar. We also need to have a title for our graph. And so we could put our title could be Types of Artifacts Found. How does the graph give more information than simply looking at the numbers in the table? A graph is often easier to see the differences in the numbers of artifacts found. So for example, if we look at the ulas and the harpoons, we found just about twice as many harpoons as ulas. Please complete assignment number 2.